Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the college football pregame show. This week is Pac-12 week, our last group of six conference. It's 35 days to the college football season kickoff. We're going to get right into it with our power rankings. Also, I'm using a new editing software, so timestamps should be working, and we might even have some little power rankings graphics. No promises, though. I haven't tested it yet. Let's get straight into it. Number 8 in the Pac-12 out of the state 8. Fun fact, every single football member of the Pac-12 ends in state, is Colorado State. The Colorado State Rams have incoming transfer Hoss Haney from Oklahoma State at quarterback. He's definitely not proven. I think it's a little early to say that he's bad, but it's definitely a concern that he didn't get that he barely got any playing time last year, especially considering how abysmally terrible Oklahoma State was last year. So I'm not super confident in the quarterback situation. The rest of the offense is pretty mid. No real standout players. I do like on the defense, though, Omar Diamond, the incoming transfer from UConn at linebacker, had 116 tackles last year at the FBS level. That's pretty darn good. So I am excited to see what he can do. Maybe see if he can really carry an overall lackluster defense. I'm especially concerned with the D-line. They don't have anybody with more than 2 sacks last season, which is a pretty big concern. They do have Jim Mora, the incoming head coach, was at UConn. Also was at the Atlanta Falcons, won an NFL Coach of the Year, but that was about 20 years ago. Now he's over in Fort Collins. I don't hate that hire, actually. I really think that he'll be pretty good. He's been it's pretty solid turning programs around. He pretty much fixed UConn. So I am pretty excited to see what he can do at head coach, but I don't think he has a lot of talent. So I'm not gonna rank Colorado State higher than 8th here. Number 7 is Oregon State. The Beavers were really bad last year, in case you missed it. They went 2-10. I don't think they're going to be too terribly much better this year, but at least they're going to win some games, hopefully. There's an intriguing quarterback battle going on. You got Braden Atkinson, who is an absolute superstar quarterback for the Mercer Bears. So the Bears, I think. I'm sorry, Mercer fans, if I got it wrong. With 3,600 passing yards, was absolutely incredible. Or you have Malik Murphy with just 1,800. Well, just 1,800. It's not bad at all at the FBS level. So we got more of a wild card in Atkinson, and I think the safer move would definitely be Murphy. So when we're given a clear winner of the quarterback competition, I will tell y'all the first video after that. Then I really like Cornell Hatcher at running back. He was pretty good in his freshman year. Really exciting. I think sophomore year ahead of him. I think he might be in position for a breakout year. Maybe not this year. Might be next year. But he seems like he could really come out of nowhere, be one of the best players in the conference even. The defense is my main concern. It's awful. It's really bad. There's no good stats that were at all redeeming that I wrote down doing my research yesterday. That said, I didn't spend too much time researching. I put Journey's Infinity on and went through the whole conference. Great album, by the way. I know you want to hear about my football opinions, not my music taste, but I freaking love Journey. In case you're curious, and I was probably about I'd gotten 6 teams done by the time the album was over, so I didn't research too in depth. But I just could not find anything good about this defense. I want to find something exciting. Hopefully Oregon State does well, but it's just the defense is so bad. I do really like the hire of Jamarcus Shepard. Was an offensive coordinator at Alabama last season. Or co-offensive coordinator, excuse me. He seems like he could really turn this program around, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. The defense is just so bad. It's really not good. Then at number 6, we've got Washington State. which is really sad that two former Power Conference teams are now, oh no, I'm not going to say it, not in the top five power rankings for a G6 conference. I guess it's the G6 now. I just feel bad for Oregon State and Washington State. Like, as a Memphis fan, we've always been on the outside and trying to get in. I don't think I could imagine being on the inside and then getting kicked out. That sounds terrible. So, sorry, Oregon State Wazoo fans. Hope it gets better for you. But I'm not confident in Wazoo this year. I think they have a higher floor than Oregon State. I don't think the risk of them just completely blowing the season, being trash, is very high. But I also think the odds of them winning more than 6 games are really low. This seems like a pretty safe 5-7 season for the Cougs. Caden Pinnock did have a really good year at quarterback, over 3,000 yards at FCS UC Davis. The rest of the offense is kind of mid. My big concern is the defense, just like Oregon State. Nyland Brown's really the only satisfactory option at linebacker. He's the only one with more than 40 tackles, I think. They don't have a single safety with double-digit tackles last season, which is a huge concern at the safety position. I don't think the cornerback room is good enough to really make up for that lack of talent amongst the defensive backs. And, the defense is just not good. I do also like the hire of Kirby Moore, however, was a really good offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Mizzou. So I am excited to see what he can do. It's just, again, I don't think this is the season for him to do it. Next, we got Utah State at number 5. Utah State has incoming transfer McKay Hillstead. He was the quarterback at BYU last season. He only appeared in 4 games, so he's definitely not proven. I'm not confident that he'll be great, but I think he should at least put Utah State at the level they want to be at. Just be in the middle of the pack. Don't be bad. I would also like to point out that the defense, unlike Wazoo and Oregon State, is spectacular. There's really a gap in between the top 5 and the bottom 3 in this conference. This is where the gap is. This is where we start getting into the good teams. Because Utah State, the rest of their offense is not very good, but their defense is just so incredible. They've got linebacker Branson Oliveo Jr. with 88 tackles last season, and safety Brelon Hamblins, with 110 tackles last season. That's almost 200 tackles from 2 players combined on one defense at the G6 level. That's really going to slow a lot of teams down, and I feel like they could at least pull off one pretty good upset. So I do really like Utah State's defense. It's just I don't think the offense is good enough. I don't trust the quarterback yet. McKay Hillstead could prove me wrong. And I'm not sure he's got enough to throw to. Wide receiver room's not terrible, but it's not quite where I'd like it to be. So overall, pretty solid team. It just really needs to figure the offense out. Now, number 4, Fresno State. There was a lot of hype around Fresno State when I started doing the research from all of the nerd circles I'm in, at least. All of my fellow college football addicts. Passionate fans that I know were like, Fresno State's going to be great this year. You really got to get in on the Fresno State train. And then I looked at it, I see where it's coming from, but I am not as confident. I don't think they're bad, but I wouldn't put them in my top 3 for this ranking. The quarterback situation is pretty rough. Their 2 options are a guy with 17 career pass attempts, one of them was a touchdown, or a guy with 9 career pass attempts and 2 of them were interceptions. So there's just no experienced safe option at quarterback. I do really like the running back room. It's just so stacked. They've got so many really good backs that they have depth at the position. That, I think, they can establish a really good rush offense as long as the O-line holds up and is just acceptable. That's really all it needs to be. The wide receiver room is okay. The defense is overall pretty average. There is one guy, though, I really like. Simeon Harris at corner. Only 53 tackles, but I feel like I watched some film from him, and he looked really good. I really like Simeon Harris at corner. The overall corner room is pretty good. A lot of depth. So shout out to you, Simeon. Best of luck this year. I really like Fresno State to at least make a bowl game, maybe 7 or 8 wins. Matt Entz has been a pretty okay coach. Nothing bad. Maybe he hasn't improved the program very much from where he took it, but it's definitely remained stable. So I'm not going to complain about Matt Entz at head coach. He seems to me that he's doing pretty good. Now, number 3, San Diego State. I really like the Aztecs this year. I always really like the Aztecs. They're a good program, good team. But this year, they've got Jaden Denegal at quarterback, who threw for 1,800 yards. I'm a little concerned with his interceptions. He's got 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions last year. I'm just not sure that he'll be consistent enough. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's pretty good. I like his potential. Maybe last year was just not a great season. It happens. You have bad seasons. You have bad games. Excuse me. So overall, I think he should be a pretty solid quarterback for the Aztecs. I also like Lucky Sutton, who rushed for 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. Very good running offense they should be able to establish. The defense, again, the problem here is the defense. If you can be the best on one side of the ball, if you're no good on the other side of the ball, then you're not going anywhere. And their D-line is bad. The corners are not great. The linebacker room was simply atrocious. I'd advise you to go look up the stats because it seems as if I forgot to write them down. I think it was something like nobody with more than 30 tackles last year in a linebacker room, like out of all of them. Not a single one of them had more than 30 tackles, which you might be able to get as a backup. Yeah, so I'm really just concerned about the defense. They do have a great safety room. I like the safeties, very deep. No real bad options for starting. I do like the safeties. And Sean Lewis has been an incredible head coach for the Aztecs. I really like Sean Lewis. So I am pretty excited to see what he can cook up. I don't think he needs a too talented roster. It's much easier to overcome a bad roster with good coaching than bad coaching with a good roster. So I think Sean Lewis will at least be able to push the Aztecs to 8 wins, even with the lackluster defense. Now, the Texas State Bobcats. Wow, I really love Texas State this year. They weren't even supposed to be invited into this conference, and now they might win it year 1 if they can get over Boise State. We'll talk about them next. Brad Jackson is an absolutely phenomenal quarterback with a phenomenal mustache. I really like the receivers too. They've got I skipped stats. Whoops. No. Brad Jackson threw for 3,200 yards last year. Also had 17 rushing touchdowns. Was very good. And 21 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions throwing the ball. I really like Brad Jackson. I think he is, without a doubt, the best quarterback going into this season. Obviously, things change, but on paper, he's definitely the best. He also has a lot of good options to throw to. Bo Sparks and Chris Dawn are wide receivers with more than 1,000 yards last season. I really love this offense. My only real concern with the team is the defensive line. They've got Dontarie Russell at defensive tackle, I think defensive tackle. Sorry if I got that wrong. Had 4 sacks last season, pretty all right. The rest of the D-line combined had just 1, which doesn't mean they're bad, but it definitely means they're inexperienced. So I am a bit concerned with the D-line. The rest of the defense is pretty average, nothing bad. And G.J. Kinney has been a pretty solid head coach for Texas State. I think he'll keep the program running at a very stable level, moving into a new conference, even with the ridiculous logistics that they have being in Texas, everybody else on the West Coast. Well, I say ridiculous logistics. Poor Boston College and Cal are in a conference with each other, so I guess Texas State's logistics aren't that bad. So yeah, I really like Texas State. I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win the conference, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did. And now the number one in a surprising turn of events that surprised absolutely nobody, the Boise State Broncos. I would kind of consider it a three-peat if they won this conference, because it's basically the good teams from the Mountain West minus UNLV and New Mexico last year. So really, I'd give Boise State the three-peat if they win the conference their first season in it. I think Boise State looks exceptional. Maddox Matson's back at quarterback after a great season. Dylan Riley at running back rushed for 1,125 yards last season. Oh, there's Maddox Matson's stats. I'm sorry. Maddox Matson threw for 2,334 yards, pretty solid. I'm a bit concerned. Only a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Not bad, but not spectacular. Then the wide receiver room is pretty solid. The defensive line is pretty good. You got Jaden Virgin Morgan, with 6 sacks last season. They also got Bol Bol. Not that Bol Bol. They just have a dude who happens to be named Bol Bol at defensive end, incoming sophomore, I believe. And I thought I should mention that. Shout out to Bol Bol, not the NBA Bol Bol, but Boise State Bol Bol. Let's see. Spencer Danielson had an incredible year one at head coach of Boise State. I'm just not sure about him as a coach yet, because he took a great program and with not quite the same team, but a similar team, took them to the playoffs. Their 2 losses were 37-34 barn burner against the Oregon Ducks and a playoff loss to Penn State. It was an incredible year, but it wasn't that much improvement from last year. Had they had the same schedule in 2023, and they might have made the 12-team playoff. And Boise State kind of struggled in Spencer Danielson's year 2. They weren't bad, but they weren't as good as they normally are. They still won the conference, of course. I'm just not sure about Spencer Danielson as a coach yet. If he does great this year, then he has my full confidence. But he needs to do good this year for me to be sure about him as one of the best coaches in the mid-majors. And, I mean, really, other than that, my only concern is the D is slightly below average. It's not bad by any means. So, yeah, I really love this Boise State team, and they are my favorite to win the conference. With that said, let's get into the picks. So, in week 1, we have Oregon State going on the road at Houston. Houston won this game by a sizable margin last season, and I think they're probably going to win it again this year. And then Boise State and Oregon, as I already talked about. This game was 37-34. This was a dangerous game for Dan Lanning and the Ducks last time it was played. And it almost resulted in an undefeated regular season for Boise State. However, I think Oregon might be a little bit better, and I think Boise State might be a little bit worse than the playoff season. Therefore, I'm going with Oregon. Fresno at USC. I don't think I've picked Fresno to lose a game in any of my other videos. I am going to go with USC here at home. The Rose Bowl is just a tough place to play. Wazoo at Washington, the Apple Cup, as I believe it's called. I just don't love Washington State this year. I think Washington's probably going to win the rivalry game. Then Wyoming at Colorado State. I think I'm going to stick with the pick I made in the Mountain West video. Wyoming just doesn't look to be too terribly good this year. Colorado State is by no means fantastic, but I think they'll be able to get that win at home. San Diego State and Utah State should both be able to beat FCS opponents. And Texas State doesn't have a chance against Texas. I know I glazed them pretty hard, especially their offense, but I don't think they're that good. Then Washington State at Kansas State should be another loss to a Power 4 opponent. San Diego State at UCLA, though. I really like San Diego State, as I talked about. Again, it's just the defense I'm concerned with. But I think that just great offense might be able to overpower the Bruins. I don't think this is a conference that will go without beating a Power 4 opponent. And I think this is a great opportunity for it. So I'm going with San Diego State. Then, Washington and Utah State. This is Washington's second Pac-12 opponent. I think I'm also going to go with the Huskies here. I already picked Memphis at Boise State in my American video. Not at all biased, by the way, as you can see by my whole Memphis Tiger themed setup back here. Boise, I'm honestly less confident in them than when I started my research. So I think more confident picking Memphis here, then, by all means, it's definitely still a competitive, close game. But I think I still like the Tigers. Then Colorado State will beat an FCS opponent. Fresno State can beat newly FBS opponent Sacramento State. I'm going to take Texas Tech on the road against Oregon State. What in the... No. Okay, Pro Football Sports Network generates these little scores. It gave me 29-1. What is that? Stop. It's messing with me and I don't like it. It's making me mad. All right, so I'm probably going to go with Texas Tech here. By the way, Texas Tech changed their logo. Let me know what y'all think about the new one. I think it's bad. I don't know why they changed it. I really like the old one. I think it's right there. You see it on the screen. Simplicity's not bad, of course, but I like the old logo better. The 3D effect is pretty cool. And then for the third time in this series, I'm gonna change a pick. I really liked UTSA in my American research. However, I just don't think they're as good as Texas State, especially outside of Alamo Dome. I cannot emphasize this enough. UTSA is way better than they should be at home and way worse than they should be on the road. So I'm switching my pick to Texas State. Then Utah State at Utah. I think I'm going to go with Utah here. I think it's a rivalry game. I forgot the name of it. If it has a name, I'm sorry. Is this something to do with beehives, I think? So, sorry, Utah State and Utah fans. Fresno and San Jose State should be a pretty easy win for Fresno. Boise at home against an FCS opponent. BYU should blow Colorado State out of the water, 42-10. It's the score PFSN generated. Pro Football Sports Network is a great website, by the way. So, shout out to them. You want to do your own predictions, use them. I like that. I like their website. Very nice interface. Very easy to use. Oregon State should beat an FCS opponent. Last year, they almost didn't, but this year I think they can get it done. San Diego State at home against James Madison. I'm sticking with that. I know I picked James Madison to win the Sun Belt, but San Diego State at home, I really like the Aztecs to win that game. And then I'm going to change another one. I'm taking Texas State at home against North Texas. That does not affect my American Conference championship prediction. It's still Memphis and North Texas, and I'm still picking Memphis. Not at all biased again. So, I'm changing the pick again. I just really did not see Texas State's incredible offense coming. So, I'm going with the Bobcats. Wazoo can definitely beat Duquesne. It's Duquesne, by the way. It's spelled Duquesne or Duchesne, I've heard people say. It's Duquesne, if you're wondering. UTSA against Colorado State. That is probably going to be a win in San Antonio. I like San Diego State on the road against Toledo. I like Boise on the road against Western Michigan in what can only be called the Bronco Bowl. There's no other name for it. So I'm sticking with that pick. I'm also going to keep Oregon State on the road against UTEP. I really like Oregon State a lot more than I think most people do. If by like them, I think that means maybe they'll win 5 games, but I don't think they're going to lose to UTEP at all. Fresno at home against Rice. I'm keeping that one. Texas State, I'm going to have against an FCS opponent. Troy on the road against Utah State. I think I'm sticking with that. And then Arizona, on the road against Washington State should be a win for the Wildcats. Then Boise at home against Utah State. I'm going to take Colorado State at home against Oregon State. At home, that's a win for the Rams. On the road, maybe otherwise. I'm going to take San Diego State to start 5-0 with a win against Texas State. I really like the Aztecs this season. Then Fresno State on the road against Washington State should be a win for the Bulldogs. There's just a bit of a drop-off between the top half of this conference and the bottom half of this conference. Fresno State is probably just that much better than Washington State. Boise at Fresno is a trap game. I almost want to pick Fresno State, but I'm so concerned about the quarterback situation. I'm really not sure what this offense is going to do unless they just want to run the ball every play like it's 1935, which if it works, then more power to them, but I don't think that'll work. So I'm taking Boise State. I'm going to take San Diego State to start 6-0. My goodness. And then I'm going to have Utah State at home against Wazoo. Then week 7, we got Washington State, Oregon State. They only have to play each other once this year, which is nice. I think I'm taking Oregon State this time, especially at home. And then San Diego State for a 7-0 start at home against Fresno. And Texas State should beat Colorado State. Then San Diego, 8-0 start. Okay. Bit of an easy schedule, but I'm taking San Diego State. Then Texas State at home against Utah State. And I guess Washington State's going to start 1-7. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but Week 13 is what the Pac-12 is calling a flex week, where they can pick any team. The conference picks who plays, which is sort of cheating, but it's technically allowed. So I think it does give us scenarios here. I'm just going to pick those. They may not. Some of the games I'm picking may not even happen, but that's what I'm doing with it. Texas State, I'm at Boise. I'm going with the Broncos. The game at home should be a win for Boise for sure. I'm going to take Fresno at home against Oregon State. And San Diego State for a 9-0 start. I don't think they're that good, but that's the schedule that they get, so good for them. And then Utah State, I don't think is 2-5 bad. Not even 3-5 bad, but that's the schedule they get. They're going to start 3-5 is my prediction. They will beat Colorado State. Then in Week 10, I'm taking Boise on the road against Colorado State. Oh, that's a tempting upset. Because, again, Oregon State's offense isn't even that bad. It's just the defense is so terrible that I think Texas State could probably win this game 63 to any amount of score. To like 63 to, let's see. Oregon State's offense is pretty good. This game might. Remember James Madison in North Carolina was like 70 to 50? That was 2 years ago. That was, wow. Yeah, it's going to be like that, but I'm taking Texas State. Then Utah State and Fresno. At home, I think I'm going with the Aggies. I don't hate Utah State because their defense is so good. So I really like them. They're probably going to catch a couple teams off guard. Boise at home against Oregon State. I think I'm going to take Texas State to beat Fresno on the road, and then San Diego State for a 10-0 start. All their hard games are at home, so I really don't know what to do. And then Washington State, I think I'm going to have winning against Colorado State at home. And then in Week 12, there's the loss for San Diego State. They're playing at Boise. Definitely going with the Broncos there. I think that they might even be a better team, but definitely at home they're a better team. Then Fresno for a bowl game, 6-5. They will beat Colorado State. Oregon State and Utah State's a pretty good game because it's all offense and no defense versus all defense and no offense. But I think I'm going with Utah State even on the road. And then Texas Tech for Texas State, not Texas Tech, for an 8-3 start. And then Week 13, again, some of these matchups might not even happen. But I'm going to take Texas Tech to beat Colorado State on the road. I think I'm going to take Fresno to beat San Diego State at home. Just gonna, they tend to do that, and I think Utah State will beat Boise. I think it's gonna happen. They do that with the defense they have. They're gonna beat some teams that they're not supposed to beat, especially on their home field. And I think they're gonna go bowling and knock off Boise State. And then finally, Oregon State and Washington State might end up playing each other again. If that were to happen, I think I'm taking the home team. With that, Oregon State, Colorado State, Washington State, all 3-9, 1-6 in conference play. Fresno State 3-4 in conference play, but a 7-5 overall record. Utah State 4-3 in conference play, just barely makes a bowl game at 6-6. Texas State just outside of the conference championship picture at 5-2 in the conference, 9-3 overall, and San Diego State will have only one conference loss and be 10-2 total. Then Boise State 7-0 in conference and 9-3 overall. Which means going to the conference championship, I'm going to take between Boise State and San Diego State. In the regular season, I picked Boise State to win. Again, Boise State just doesn't have any real major flaws, while San Diego State's defense is just such a concern for me. However, it's pretty difficult to beat the same team twice, and I think the strengths of the Aztecs definitely outweigh the strengths of the Broncos. Therefore, I'm going to take San Diego State to win the inaugural new Pac-12 championship and go 11-2, which means that I really don't know who the favorite G6 playoff team is. You got 12-1 Memphis, probably the pick. We'll revisit playoff predictions in SEC week. That's the final one. You also have 11-2 UNLV, 11-2 James Madison, 11-2 San Diego State, probably the favorite out of those, just the toughest schedule. Or I guess not the toughest schedule. They played a lot of really easy games, so you really just don't know. As well as 10-3 Jacksonville State and Bowling Green. So you just got a lot of really good No, I picked Toledo to win in that video, didn't I? I think I picked Toledo. Whoops. Yeah, I think 10-3 Toledo. My mistake. So depending on who I pick to win the Power 4 Conference Championships, we might have multiple G6 playoff bids in my predictions. But yeah, overall, I think Memphis is the safe favorite. Not biased. And then San Diego State probably the second choice. Although James Madison and UNLV aren't bad either. So really, we'll see. That'll do it for this episode. Next week, we have the ACC and Notre Dame gets its own video as well. That's it for this one. We will see you then.